Hey guys, welcome back to the Hear Me Roar pod. I am Tobi and my co-host is none other than the Kate Save, which you might know her from Shark Tank. She's also founder of BeFit Foods and picked up Telstra's Business of the Year award too. Kate?
Well, Tobi, you've got a super impressive CV, 25 years in global commercialisation experience, and you founded Creative Cubes, Australia's leading co-working space and real estate business.
All right, let's get on with the pod.
Welcome, Tobi.
Kate, how are you? How's your week been?
It's great, actually. Love being back on the pod.
Yeah, it's great, right? We've had some great guests over the last little while.
We have, and I've noticed things going a little bit, a bit viral out there. Some of those shorts are incredible.
They are. The shorts are getting real traction.
Yeah.
And then as a result, the show's getting a lot of engagement. I got a funny thing to tell you. You have to meet my little Harper.
Oh, yeah.
She's a firecracker. She goes really high really quick and goes really low really quick in terms of her emotions.
Yes.
She's wildly passionate. And unfortunately, she's a year 4 student. And a couple of her years, her foundational years, were messed up. I can't believe this is like the 3rd pod in a row. We've got to mention this crazy guy, Dan Andrews. But when he decided to lock up our kids and us and all the rest of us, he caused some serious damage. I mean, We heard about depression. We heard about those mental health challenges. But actually what he did to the kids,
Yes.
firstly, is unforgivable.
Yeah.
But my little Harper, a little firecracker, she's been having some tests to just sort of figure out why she's not grasping.
Yeah.
And she came home the other day with the biggest smile on her face. I go, what's going on? She goes, I got my results.
Oh.
She goes, we know what's going on with me. I was like, what? She goes, well, at first, we didn't know, but it turns out that I've got the most minute and finite dyslexia. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
She goes, I'm so relieved because I thought I had ADHD.
So good.
I'm like, babe, it's ADHD. And she's like, nah, ADHD. And we went and picked up Maddie from Swinburne University. She was in the theatre class there and all the rest of it. And she goes, anyway, Dad, what time are we going to Swindleburg? I go, what do you mean with Swindleburg? What are you talking about? You know where we go pick up Maddie from? You mean Swinburne? No, Dad, Swindleburg. So she spun this whole very, very minute, like she's got a couple of like very quick fixes that'll put her back on path, which I'm really grateful for. But the ADHD got me, the Swindleburg got me. Yeah. And she said something the other day that Sim didn't understand. And Harper is a carbon copy of my younger sister, Chelsea. Like they look the same, they act the same, they are the same person. And so when Harper does some wild stuff, Sim like pisses herself laughing. And she's like, why aren't you laughing? I was like, I saw this in 1984. I saw it in 1987. I saw it in 1990. But she said something the other day and I got it. And Sim's like, what the hell does that mean? I was like, of course. I think I can't remember what the name was now because I'm flustered.
Movie or something
it was
like
it was like a product and she's like, cool something or other. And I was like, yeah, okay. She's like, I've never heard of this. What does it mean? I was like, no, it means like it's a cool thing. And Sim for the life of her, like looked it up, Googled it, grokked it, did all that sort of stuff. Couldn't figure it out, but me and Half, so we know what's going on. So with that, Kate,
yes.
We have 2 amazing people coming on the show that are actually looking after students in this exact area.
Absolutely. And there's some stats that they were saying sort of behind the scenes, which we'll bring out on the show that were just incredible.
Yeah, so I'm not only glad to have them on the show because I'm actually a parent in need.
Yes.
But I'm also somewhat comforted by, firstly, the talent of these women and what they're applying to help.
Yeah.
And then thirdly, unfortunately, I'm a statistic as well. Like my little Harper, I think she's amazing and special when in reality, her situation is pretty much the norm of what's going on with kids these days.
Yeah.
And so I thought we'd have these 2 amazing people on the show to unpack some of that.
Sounds great.
So after the break, thanks to Rise Network, we'll have the team on.
Guys, I want to introduce you to Rise, a business cohort like no other. So what is the Rise Network? Rise Network is a curated inner circle of 10 to 12 like-minded peers designed to provide a confidential, high-trust environment where business owners and leaders can gain strategic insights, actionable solutions, and lasting relationships. Rise isn't just networking, it's a game-changing business support system. It has strategic problem solving built in, expert facilitation, actionable insights, long-term impact and authentic relationships, and it's based exclusively around high-trust cohorts. For your membership, you gain full access to Creative Cubes. That means you can drop in when you're on the run to use the meeting rooms, breakout spaces, or even just dock in for the day. We wanted to serve the underserved, the people that do need the help, do need the support, don't necessarily have the funds to be able to do it, and don't necessarily fit into one of these other organizations. And so that's where Rise kind of came from. So there you have it, guys. Go to werise.au, and I hope to see you at one of our cohorts soon. Sarah Nat.
Hi.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
It's great to have you here.
Thank you.
You guys are doing some incredible work. We are up to speed on what you do, but our audience has no idea. They just know you as Sarah Nat. So do either of you want to have a crack at giving an elevator pitch?
Yeah, sure thing. Sure thing. So my name's Nat, and Sarah and I together are the directors of SailAway Readers. At SailAway, we work with children and families along with kinders to support children to build the fundamental skills they need to be proficient readers.
Yep.
So we do that in a number of different ways. We work in kinders, coaching kinder teachers to help them establish those foundational skills with children. We also run private classes here in Albert Park and various other locations that support preschool children, again, to develop phonological and phonics skills, which we can talk about in a minute. And we also work one-to-one with children with significant challenges, including learning difficulties like dyslexia that you mentioned earlier. And we work with primary age children in order to support them as well.
And so why did you guys start this business together? How did that happen?
Well, I guess, look, I was in the UK teaching, and it's been explicit there since sort of 2002. We've been doing explicit teaching. Came over to Australia with my 4 girls, and just noticed that my eldest was sort of slipping behind.
And what age were they then?
At that time, she was grade 1.
Okay.
So we're coming over grade 1. She was, at first, there was lots of praise for how well she was doing and how ahead of the game. And then she just kept sort of slipping in literacy. And I was like, oh, this isn't right. Started exploring what was going on in schools, which wasn't the same explicit teaching that we have in the UK, which led, I guess, to me getting a diagnosis for my daughter, and then thinking I need to do something about this, which is hard as a parent because your children never want to work with you at all. Ended up working with a child, bumped into Nat, who was head of intervention at a school where I was working with this child, and we were just having this conversation and saying, why are we getting children in sort of grade 3 and 4, which is that grade 3-4 slip where children suddenly have stopped using picture books, go on to chapter books, and they realise they can't read. And we were like, we need to do something about this. We need to tackle this from the ground up. So what are we going to do? And it was just before COVID.
It was just before COVID, and we sort of met and decided that we felt that intervening at the earliest time in a really playful way, but being heavily supported by the evidence and the research, and using methodology that is evidence-based to support preschool children would be number one of benefit to the most people we could possibly access, and number 2, really fun for us. And then
talk about I don't like to look at kids as a market and, a business opportunity.
Yeah.
But you couldn't have landed, and I hate to say this, it sounds horrible, but you couldn't have landed together at a better time. The world needs you, or at least Melbournians need you more than ever.
But look at what's happening now. Explicit teaching is actually happening, being rolled out. And people say, oh, isn't that going to put you out of business? And I'm like, well, we didn't really do this for a business. We're teachers aren't like that.
Sure.
Honestly, we'd probably be the most reluctant business people you have on your podcast. In saying that, we're 7 years deep now, something like that, and most of our, the areas of so many areas of our business are thriving and growing. And I think you're right. We never wanted to target a particular market. We never wanted to say, children, we're going to make our business around children because there's just so many of them.
Yeah, sure.
But we also are really passionate teachers and educators and know that giving children those really, really solid foundations is the best thing we can possibly
I fully agree with you.
Yeah.
There's two things here. Firstly, you guys are passionate about the practice of bettering these human beings, which I think is amazing. And so if you lead with that, but then there's a business that trails, right?
Yeah.
You guys have to put food on the table. You got 2 girls each.
Yeah.
She's got 4 girls.
Oh, I know. Wow. You can have mine.
So there has to be a business element because we've got some kids that need to be put through school
I think
here.
we were quite surprised that there was a business element once we got going. We were like, I think we started with one class.
We did.
That we just thought, let's make a fun class. And
in the communities that we began in, there was a pretty wildfire spread of word of mouth, and we sort of started to get a couple of calls a day, then 5 calls a day, then emails from families and parents saying, they'd say, I have a child in grade 2 or 3 and the school says they're struggling, or we notice that they can't, they're looking at the pictures when they're trying to read the words and they can't work it out what's happening here. So we'd be sort of coaching parents through that process and what we, as the experts in this, know to be the case, that children need to be competent in aspects of literacy, specifically phonological and phonemic awareness, to be able to begin to read properly. So we'd be coaching parents in that. But then like we said before, we knew that preschool children are very playful and very fun, and that we can support them in building these skills in a way that's neither boring or confrontational for them. So we were able to sort of establish our business in that way.
So is this private tutoring, or are you going into institutions as well?
We do all of it. So we provide one-to-one support for preschool children, for primary age children, where both Sarah and I, and we've got 9 staff who work with us. So some of those are tutors who the children come to our little headquarters in our little studio in Albert Park, and they work with one-to-one with tutors to support them to build those fundamental skills. We also go into kindergartens where we coach teachers, kinder teachers, and we do workshops. We've got online professional development modules that they can tap into as well, and we do lots and lots of modelling. So some of our staff are going into kinders on a weekly basis and modelling how to playfully teach these skills for preschool children. And we have a small studio in Albert Park where Sarah and some of our team run preschool classes.
Amazing.
So we've got to be going on.
And I think what's happened,
a team like that is incredible too. If they speak your language and are really replicating.
I think we were really specific in who we wanted to work for us. Because it's us, it's representing us, but it's also, these are the children at stake here. So it's not about throwing anyone in. It's we all of our staff have done teaching. We have done PD with all of our staff. We're all aligned to the science of reading. And that's what we sort of really stress. We want to be evidence-based. We're not just, and I think that goes back to your question. We weren't doing this for the business. We were doing it because we really want to see results. And we are. And that's what's great. It's when families come back to us and say, wow, our child hit the ground running in prep. They are reading and they're loving reading. And that's the difference.
And I think because being school ready means lots of different things for your preschool. I mean, as parents, we know that. And sometimes it's about teaching children to open their lunchbox on their own. Sometimes it's about teaching them to get onto the school grounds without desperately clinging to mum and dad, and all of that takes time and it takes effort and energy. And we always really feel that if we can give all children, a fundamental beginning in 1 or 2 aspects of school readiness, then it takes the pressure off, doesn't it? It takes the pressure off them, because then they can focus on the social emotional aspects of beginning school or whatever it is that their particular needs are, but at least they have a foundation in something as fundamental as reading and spelling.
Yeah, amazing. And there wouldn't be a parent out there that wouldn't be thinking now, oh, I wish that was around when I needed it, or experiencing, kids in grade 2 and 3 that should have had more support early on.
I think that's what, for me, particularly with the 4 girls, if I'd have known that I could have done this with my girls, this could have saved some of the pain that I have working with them now, really poor spellers, reading. We're okay, but I've read with them extensively. I've practiced this at home, but not every parent has that knowledge or can do that.
Yeah.
And I find it really frustrating. And so that's why we sort of want to get this message out. But we felt, I think the journey went because we felt we weren't accessible to all. It became, these private classes, or because it's a business, it's paying for the support. And so we sort of brainstormed, where can we take this so that we become accessible for all and every child has the opportunity, which is where we've led into working in
working in preschools and kindergarten.
You got to train the teacher, right?
Yeah. Correct, exactly. Because what better way to, it scales our business.
Scale,
but it also scales it for children.
Yeah.
Because when we can have a class of up to 8 children privately at our studio in Albert Park, we can access 25 children in a kinder room on a regular basis. And we were talking before about some of our staff who are both very well trained and excellent human beings, but also really adept at knowing how to build relationships with children in order to be really effective, and build relationships with teachers in order to be really effective. I think we've been really lucky. But also by design. I think we've worked hard we've had some luck, but we've also worked really hard to.
And you're passionate. So
we
are.
You weren't going to give up. You're going to find a way.
So we had a situation unfold in the last 24 hours, which has actually been quite stressful. And I vowed when I left home in 2003, I was 23 years old. I said to my mum said to me, Tobi, good people win in the end. If you're good, it'll come back to you 10x. And if you're bad, it'll come back to you 10x. So I've maintained this, be good, right? Yeah. And so in the last 48 hours, it's been quite stressful. But my CEO called me and I said, hi, Michael, how are you? He's like, I'm fantastic. And I went, you realize what's going on right now, yeah? And he's like, yeah, I'm fantastic. I was like, what? And anyway, he disclosed some massive movements. And I said to him, Michael, I believe good people win in the end. And this is an example. So time out on that. I think you guys are doing that. I think you're walking the talk and delivering, and the impact, and I hope you reflect a lot. Yeah. Because I can talk to you from a parent perspective that I care so much about my girls. I speak about them on every bloody show we're on. They come with me everywhere all the time. I've got my little buddies, But I actually don't care what they do and how they do it and all the rest of it. Like, so long as they're happy, that's all that matters to me. But the trouble that my wife has gone through, trying to figure out how to flick this little switch in Harper, which is now like not far from being completely on, has been quite traumatic. And to hear about organizations like yourselves and wonderful people that you are, making this bold impact. And we talk about tell us about your business. We're like, we didn't realize we had a business. We just wanted to solve a problem.
Yeah, it's true.
It's magic.
It's true. And really, I think that is actually what continues to motivate us. While we are a little reluctant to run this business, because we want to be able to constantly be passionate and do the things that we love and that drives us. Getting bogged down by things like spreadsheets and things like that sometimes feels a bit like,
payroll.
Also, I spoke about our CEO. I was the founder and CEO of our organization. I'm not the CEO. I'm the creative guy that doesn't want to get bogged down in sheets and finance and profit and loss. Like I love all of that because it's a scoreboard of the effort and energy going in, but I actually don't care about it. I just want to stay in the craft of creating and being creative.
And I think what we've learned is exactly that. We now outsource, and we're like, it takes us twice as long to do everything. We are not good at that part. Let's outsource. And it's been great.
Absolutely. And we are also, while we're very aligned and the evidence base behind what we do is something that Sarah and I bonded over in the very initial sort of phase of knowing each other, we're quite different as well. We bring really different things to our business as well. You know, like I think that...
Here we go. Here's some reels for you. Clash.
Clash. No. I think that Sarah brings a real thinking person's like quiet intelligence to what we do, and I probably bring other things which are not that.
That will really push me out of my comfort zone. So Nat is like, let's take this risk, and I'm like, no. And then,
comfort zone? You got 4 daughters.
Yeah, totally.
I'm done after 2.
Control something. You see,
my Lord.
I can't control them. So. Yeah, and I don't know, but we wouldn't be here without Nat, because I was happy just having this one class. I was like, let's start this class, and that's like, okay, well, we've got more people inquiring. Let's, build this. And I was like, oh, I don't know, we can do that.
I was just in for one class, Nat. Sarah was just in for one class.
She was dedicated one hour a week to this SailAway business. But I think in saying all that, we wouldn't be here without Sarah, because I think we're really a yin to the yang. I think we really balance each other really competently and confidently. And while I don't think we ever have any drama in our relationship, we can have challenging conversations and we can say things to each other that help to...
And we can go away and come back and go, oh, yeah, I thought you're right. Or, well, I've thought about it. And we have that reflective time. Yeah. And we deliver PD as well to the kinder staff, and we just love it. And I think they enjoy watching us.
Yeah, I think we bring a lot of energy and we have a lot of fun together. We can be really really playful together most of the time, which is lucky because that's how I like to live, frankly.
I feel like I'm watching a show.
I know.
I'm just sitting in my armchair watching this all unfold. It's magic.
I mean, you probably, I don't know if you guys, I'm interviewing you now, but do you guys find that an energy, I mean, I can hear it in podcasts as I've listened to of yours. Like you have an energy and a way of engaging with the people that absolutely, and the people that you know well and care about and learn something new about every time you talk to them and see them. And as life progresses and you experience bigger and more things together, hard things and difficult things and fun things and cool things, the bond can grow. And I think that's what happened to us.
Yeah.
From meeting in my intervention room at school.
Yeah. And it was pretty quick that happened though, because, I'd seen that for like 5 minutes after I'd worked with this student and I'd be like, hi. And we just got talking. And it was a shock when I said, I've got this idea that I think, and that's like, yeah, I love it. Okay, I'm going to have my notice in and we're going to go for this. And I was like, my goodness, what?
Sarah, every time we'd speak to each other, she'd say, are you sure you want to do that? Maybe just reduce your days. And I was like, no, this has got to
go. Good on you guys, because it's the hardest thing is to take that first step.
A leap. It was not even a step. It was a big jump.
It was a big jump. It was a big leap. But I think in every way, both in terms of building a business that is continuing to grow and in we're doing something that we know is having an impact, a positive impact, because anecdotally we know it. The data that we can see coming through from kindergartens that we've been coaching at, whose preschoolers are then going on to school, the feedback's pretty amazing. We know that this is.
And I think what's interesting is we also get past students coming back to us. And I always think, oh my gosh, did we fail them? Because they're coming back to us after they've been in our 4-year-old program. And I think, no, it's because the parents are then attuned to the literacy needs.
Wow. And they trust you.
They trust us. Yeah. And I think that's okay because we can support them. And sometimes we would be able to say from our 3 and 4-year-old classes or from going in, that child has got a specific need and it will, it will happen and
they can intervene, they can support them as quickly as possible because we know that early intervention is the key.
Yeah.
It's tricky when we're in a situation where perhaps children weren't attending school as much as they could have been because of COVID and various other things, that their particular needs weren't picked up early enough. So when we can pick them up early in a preschool type setting and when we can either fill the gaps then, or we can recommend to parents that they go and see a speech pathologist, or that we can, support the school to set up an intervention type arrangement. Yeah, we know that we're doing.
It's so good not to rely on the school to do that, because they're the stories you hear way too commonly.
But I think there's also a lot of throwing schools under the bus that happens as well. But it comes down again to how the teachers were trained. The teachers didn't know any better.
There's so much dynamic there, right?
Yeah,
so parents
much.
aren't in the classroom, so you're hearing it through the student, or you're seeing it on the report, and then the parents intervening, and it's a quick blame. I was listening to something, I think I was listening to Dr. Zach when we were talking about he came on, he's amazing. He did the Resilience Project.
The
startup, the startup, this...
Up there, the Upstarters, I think it's a startup.
Stand-up project.
Okay.
Yeah, Dr. Zach.
Upstanders.
He's amazing, and he said it's very easy to just point at the teachers. But one of the things that dawned on me, like I don't think like the average person.
Yeah.
I'm left-handed. I'm wildly creative. I think about stuff. I see stuff between the lines, and I have a hard time sharing my vision to an academic that I need to get the result from. And so I saw this one, I don't know, it was like on X or on Instagram or something like that, where the student stood up and he's like, hey, I can't fit into your round hole. I'm a square, or I'm a round and you're trying to put a square in, and what you're saying doesn't speak to me. And the teacher's like, you're rude, get out. And what he was trying to say was like, I don't understand what you're teaching. The way he said it was actually very powerful. The way it was received by the teacher was, you're on detention, get out of my class. And the teacher couldn't bridge the gap between how to connect with the student, and therefore the student was flunking or failing. And so I think what you guys are doing is wildly important, particularly because like I was okay at school. Like I'm amazing as an entrepreneur, but I was okay at school. I love sport, and I like the things that I'm really into. I want to be the best. The things that I'm not interested in is not because it doesn't interest me, but because it hasn't hooked me in a way that I understand the benefits of.
Yeah, well, that's what we're all about.
That's what I feel like you're all about.
We're all about play, actually. We ensure that the way that we deliver our programming and the way we teach preschool teachers to support children is playfully. And while it's fundamentally based in the science of learning and science of reading, we ultimately deliver it in a way that is playful, and that children
resonating.
They're easily hooked and they're engaged. And I mean, I was telling Sarah that I was teaching this morning in a preschool, and there was a little boy who was so animated. He had these big bright eyes, and he kept saying, my animal, like we were talking about animals, he said, my animal's got 2 syllables. We were thinking about syllables, and he said, tiger, that's 2 syllables. And his has 2 syllables as well. They're syllable buddies.
Yeah, wow.
And I was like, you're getting this, dude. And this is because, this is quite fun. What we're doing here is a lot of fun.
Well, my little Harper, I'm not sure if this is competitive or contradictory, but she went to Kumon.
It's not getting.
She used to go to school when we're struggling in maths. She doesn't get it. She goes to Kumon. She is so hooked on what she was. She was so hooked on Kumon to the point where she's like, Dad, let's move to Byron Bay and I'm going to open a Kumon franchise.
Bang.
And so now she's off Kumon, and she's back into she didn't come out of the class to go to Kumon, but she's back in class, and I wouldn't say she's dominating, but she's excelling. And it's because that spoke to her in a way that she understood where the classroom didn't. But now going back into the classroom, it's clicked, and she's
and it's
thriving.
that confidence. That's what we want. We want the children to feel confident. And a lot of that disengagement, it's called the Matthew effect, where children become the class clown or they misbehave in school, and then it's this downward spiral. And it's usually because they can't access what's going on. So we want to give the children the confidence and equip them for success in life.
Yeah, and I think too, as a parent or we've all probably stood in a room and spoken to a large group of people, you can tell in the room who's lighting up and who's not. And the challenge is you've got to get everyone to light up in the room. And as a teacher, you've got to do that every day with every student in every class. And that's
with so many variables in terms of background, home position. Are the parents together? Are they not? Is he troubled? Is English a second language? I mean, you're speaking at a younger age, but like there is just so much dynamic behind the kid you got to break through. Guys, I'm going to link all of your details, whether that's your LinkedIn or your website. I won't put your email address and your phone number in. Parents, teachers, students, if you are having challenges, I want you to click on the link below and I want you to reach out to these guys. They're amazing. Hopefully they can help you. They're training the trainer, sounds to me, and they're also training or teaching the student. So there's multiple people that I'm calling out here that could find value. And if you're in Albert Park, maybe knock on their door and engage. I can tell you wholeheartedly, while I haven't engaged with you guys, we absolutely had the problem that you're solving. And Harper's on the other side of that now. I was almost on the other side of it now, and she's a different child. And my wife is a lot happier. So I can only imagine the impact and empowerment that you're delivering to the students and the parents and the teachers that you're engaging. And I think what you're doing from a business standpoint sounds really exciting. I don't want to invest, but I absolutely want to. I absolutely want to cheer you on, and I want to make sure you guys continue to do amazing things, because, like, I think about impact more than I think about profit and loss. And I think that the impact that we as people in Victoria went through over the last 5 years, 2020 to mid-24, has left a long tail impact on some of the kids, on most of the kids actually, and we need more people like you. Not that you want competition, we need more people doing stuff that you're doing to sort of unwind what has been wound up. And so for that reason, I'm grateful you took the time to come on the pod, hang out with Kate and I hope you guys continue to go from strength to strength.
Thanks, Toby. Thanks, Kate. Thanks for having us.
All right, guys, quick word from Luna. Law firm, you should engage the law firm. You guys might have set up a partnership agreement. Luna are the crew for you to do that. So we'll hear from Luna, and Kate and I'll be back after this break. weareluna.co is a great place for you and your business to start off with phenomenal accounting and legal services. So if you're a startup or a scale-up looking for legal and finance support, or alternatively looking to raise capital, weareluna.co is where you need to be starting off. Kate, how great was that?
Yeah, so good. And such a space where I actually think the problems are going to get bigger and bigger, because you think a lot of parents certainly can't afford to be at home as long now with the kids.
Totally.
Kids are on devices, so they're not sitting there and doing the games and the playing. And perhaps even the next generation of grandparents, whether or not they go back to that old play-based learning or its devices. I know my in-laws and my parents would have sat down with my kids and really played, and particularly my mother-in-law taught the kids so many things because she just knew it was important, not because anyone taught her how to. But I just wonder, like, if we're grandparents one day, are we going to sit there and really, pull out all the ABC things and really try and teach kids?
It's very interesting, right? Like, you've got so many different dynamics at play here. You've got grandparents that did it in their way.
Yeah.
You've got us.
Yeah.
And then you've got the kids that are going to be doing it in their way. Yes. And then we're going to become the grandparents one day. And look, for me, it's very complex.
Yeah.
It's very complex. And the impact that Sarah and Nat are having, in their local community, even in sort of like, Albert Park down to the peninsula and back.
But
it's not enough. Yeah, but it's also not like, so I can imagine like the impact, like we need 2,000 Sarahs and 3,000 Nats to just combat some of these problems.
Absolutely, because they're evidence-based and they're science.
Yeah.
They're doing it right. Nobody else knows how to do that, or the average mum and dad and grandparent doesn't know that.
We've got 6 million people in this state of Victoria, growing. A large population of that is very young kids.
Yeah. And if we're investing in the future, then we should be investing.
Yeah, I wonder, I mean, if the government gets involved, it'll all get messed up. But I think the government needs to get involved and sort of like enable some of this stuff, you know, put some grant money towards this sort of stuff, upskill teachers, upskill the workforce to be able to combat the problem that they caused.
Universities, maybe, those sorts of things.
But all the more power to those women. They're doing fantastic things, and I'm really grateful that they took the time out to come hang with us.
Absolutely. They were teaching this morning, so hands-on.
Yeah,
Incredible.
amazing. All right, Kate, we'll see you next week.
See you then.
Sounds good.